Behavior. It is an action or reactions of an individual in response to his environment. Human behavior. It encompasses the entirety of actions and reactions exhibited by individuals both consciously and unconsciously in response to internal and external stimuli, meaning our actions may be voluntary or involuntary. There are five different viewpoints in the study of human behavior. First is neurological. In neurological viewpoint, everything we do, think, and feel is rooted in what's happening in our brain. Our thoughts, feelings, and actions and behavior are a result of a complex interplay of a neural activity. Our brain is the command center of our body. It receives information, process, sending out signals to tell our body what to do. These viewpoints help us understand why people react differently to the same situation. Number two is we have behavioral. In behavioral viewpoint, it focuses on what people do rather than what they feel and think. We learn behavior through experiences, like getting reward for doing something good and being punished for doing something bad. It's always the action than the reason behind it. Number three is the cognitive. It focuses on, it focuses on how our brain think, process information, and make decisions instead of just focusing on what we do. The cognitive viewpoints looks at how we think about things. For example, our memory, how we remember the past events, attention, what we choose to focus on, problem solving, we figure things out, and perception, how we see and interpret the world around us. Number 4. Psychoanalytical. In psychoanalytical viewpoint, it suggests that a lot of our behavior is influenced by things we're not even aware of, our unconscious thoughts and feelings. It focuses on early childhood experiences, unconscious desires and fears. Number 5. Humanistic. In humanistic viewpoints, humans are inherently good and possess a natural drive towards growth and self-actualization. It emphasizes free will and personal agency, suggesting that individuals are actively choose their paths and are not merely products of their environment and unconscious forces. There are five different viewpoints in the study of human behavior. First is neurological. In neurological viewpoint, everything we do, think, and feel is rooted in what's happening in our brain. Our thoughts, feelings, and actions and behavior are a result of a complex interplay of a neural activity. Our brain is the command center of our body. It receives information, process, sending out signals to tell our body what to do. These viewpoints help us understand why people react differently to the same situation. Number two is we have behavioral. In behavioral viewpoint, it focuses on what people do rather than what they feel and think. We learn behavior through experiences, like getting reward for doing something good and being punished for doing something bad. It's always the action than the reason behind it. Number three is the cognitive. It focuses on, it focuses on how our brain think, process information, and make decisions instead of just focusing on what we do. The cognitive viewpoints looks at how we think about things. For example, our memory, how we remember the past events, attention, what we choose to focus on, problem solving, we figure things out, and perception, how we see and interpret the world around us.
So, good day everyone. I am Dexter Luis Sihilay and today I am going to discuss about the three levels of behavior. So, first off, we have the vegetative level. So, it refers to the nurturing and reproduction mostly found in plants in human beings for food and reproduction. So, this means that our action that we act every day is in an unconscious action. So it means that our actions that we interact is we are unaware We are unaware that our action is right or wrong because we do the act of free will. Now let's move on to the animal level. So animal level refers to the movement and sensation, mostly the use of the sense and sex drives. So we all know that the actions of the animal, they're just only do eating, sleeping, pooping everywhere, and peeing everywhere without the right interaction like us people. So the animal level that they act every day is they don't know what is right or wrong. They just act in their own living. So that is the action of the animal level. The last stuff is the rational psych human. So it refers to the values and morals, reasons and the will, the purpose and freedom. So when we say about rational, it is all about in our mind, our action and the cognitive process, the way we think, the way we act, and the way we learn, the way we interact to the people because we have the right conduct and we have a right to know what is right or wrong. So that is the rational psych human. Assessing measuring human behavior. Number one, descriptive method. Describing the behavior. Naturalistic observation refers to the observing behavior in the natural setting of the person's background. So, their behavior was adopted by the community on what they learn. It is based on their moral. Assessing measuring human behavior. Descriptive method or describing the behavior. Naturalistic observation refers to observing behavior in the natural settings of the person's background. So their behavior was adopted by the community. Examples for their school, from their parents, or anywhere. It is common to adopt this behavior because it is the way on how we interact to the people and the way how to make a strong communication for them. But as long as that behavior is have a morality to do what is right or wrong. Letter B. Systematic observation refers to making use of the objective checklist. Example of this is the skill rating test given by the guidance office. Uh, it is the behavior or the example of this was the person who always got punished by their parents or either teachers. For example, the gang. The person who is member in gang is always their action are in a wrongful act in a wrongful way. So it is commonly for them to punished or or worse to be suspended from school and grounded by their parents. So it is shown by the systematic observation. Number two, clinical method refers to diagnosis and treatment of serious emotional or mental or disturbance. So it is the method for those people have a mind problems or a mental disorders. Experimental method refers to relationship between variables by way of experimentation. Specimens are required for comparison and for contact. Number 4. Statistical method refers to making sure or making use of researches that were conducted. It makes use of the central tendencies, means, median, and mode test. Also the use of informed crime report. Factors that shape and affects human behavior. First up, we have heredity. Refers to the prearranged patterns as a result a process of transmission of genetic characteristic from parents to the offspring. So this means that this action was came from the parent. So from the parent, it was passed from their child. So the behavior was adopted by their genetic characteristic. Number two, environmental factors refers to all conditions inside and outside of an organism. That is why any way influence behavior growth and development of life processes. So our behavior was adapted based on our what we encountered in our environmental factors. So we adapt that behavior because that's what we learn for our environment. So we have here the two ways of human behavior. The biogenic or biologic needs and the psychological or sociogenic or psychogenic needs. So from the word biological, so it means the adoption of the behavior of the people was came from their child until they brought it until they were adult. So that is from the biologic needs. On the other hand, the psychological or sociogenic needs is the way how they adopt the behaviors from what they observe into the community. So they adopt that behavior because it was influenced by the community outside, or from the word psychological, it is the state of mind on how they adopt the behavior based on what they learned inside on their minds. The three faculties of man. So first up, we have the will freedom, the act that we can do the act whatever we want, as long as in a morality action or in a morality way. Number two, the intellect legal process, the act that what is right and what is acceptable for the community. And last, number three, the soul, moral, spiritual part of a man. So the action that you show to others is that is known to be you, or as you do your action, that is the way that your identity of a person, that based on the action show that you show to the people. So what is the goals and purposes of studying the criminal behavior? So to identify that the behavior is acceptable or not in the community. If the mental state of mind of the individual is in a good stages and it is not against in the law. Because every human has a criminal intent to do so. It is because there is something wrong with their minds due to the experience, depression, and more. So we need to understand and deal with their situation so that to avoid this kind of situation.
So good evening everyone. So my name is Ivan James Adorable. So I'm the next reporter. So comprehensive report, an analysis of human behavior and its influencing factors. So this report provides a detailed analysis of a text outlining the key factors influencing the evaluation of human behavior and its fundamental components. So it offers a framework for understanding the complexities of human actions and their interpretations, emphasizing the interplay between internal drives and external influences. So going back, number one, the evaluation of human behavior, a multifaceted perspective. So the multifaceted nature of evaluating human behavior, highlighting three crucial factors. So number one, social values as determinant. So it emphasizes the profound impact of societal norms and values on our perception and judgment of behavior. So it's considered acceptable or unacceptable. varies significantly across cultures and even within subgroups or a single society. So number two, the role of differing standards. So it notes that the different social groups often adhere to distinct behavioral standards. These discrepancies can lead to conflicting evaluations on the same action depending on the observer's group affiliation. So it also highlights the need of understanding, recognizing that the behavior cannot be judged in a vacuum. So number three, individual frames of reference rather, subjective lens. So this part is a crucial role of individual experiences and perspectives in shaping behavioral interpretations. So personal history, beliefs, values act as filter, influencing how we perceive and judge actions of others. So on to the next topic. So deconstructing human behavior. So it have three fundamental elements. So it proposes a three-element model for understanding human behavior. So it needs as the driving force. So it identifies needs as the fundamental motivators of human behavior. These needs uh, these needs are categorized into three types. So number one, biologically driven needs. So these arise from basic metabolic processes such as hunger and thirst, representing inherent physiological requirements. So next is environmentally induced needs. These are triggered by any changes in the external environment, such as temperature fluctuations or the other situational factors that necessitate a response. And for the next one, so it is symbolic needs. This involve cognitive and emotional needs such as need for knowledge, understanding, or social interaction. These needs are often less tangible but equally potent in driving behavior. So into the next one, purpose. So the intended outcome emphasizes the importance of understanding the purpose or intended outcome of a behavior. So it's the same action can have different interpretation depending on the actor's underlying intentions. So analyzing the purpose requires careful consideration of context and available information rather. So satisfaction, the fulfillment of needs. So highlights the crucial role of need satisfaction in shaping behavior, the extent to which behavior successfully addresses a need influences future actions and patterns of behavior. So onto my last topic, which is frustration. So the obstacle to need satisfaction. So it defines frustration as the impediment impediment to the fulfillment of motivated behavior. It arises when an individual encounters obstacles preventing the achievement of their goals. So this can result from internal conflicts or external constraints. So it's understanding the frustration is crucial for comprehending behavioral deviations, and maladaptive responses. So it suggested that frustration is often the source of conflict arising from the presence of opposing or incompatible drives of action systems. So I guess it's all for today, and that's my topic, and thank you for listening.
So there are sources of frustration. First is physical environment, like calamities, natural disasters like earthquakes and floods can cause immense frustration by destroying homes and livelihoods. 2. Social environment. Discrimination based on caste, race, or gender, leading to frustration by limiting opportunities like creating social injustice. 3. The organism itself. Chronic illness like diabetes or mental health issues like anxiety can be frustrating as they affect daily life and overall well being. So let's proceed to how people respond to a frustration. So there are many types of responses to frustration. So when someone experiences frustration, they often feel emotions like anger. This emotion can either push them to try harder or make them feel stuck. And while some people handle frustration well by staying calm and using their energy productivity, this ability is called high frustration tolerance. The way a person or individual reacts to frustration to one situation is known as coping mechanism. This called is fight and flight. So from the word itself, fight, it means facing the problem head on and trying to overcome it. While flight, it means avoiding the problem or withdrawing from the situation.
The two main classifications of criminal personalities. First is the social offender. So this type of offenders, it becomes involved in criminal behavior due to the environmental and social influences. So the example of this is a teenager who joins a gang and start committing a crime such as nagapangawat or drug dealing. It because of peer pressure and the environment they grow up in. And the second one is the individual offender. So this type of offender, it commit crimes because of personal psychological traits like mental disorders and intrinsic personality characteristic, or like someone with impulse control issues who commits crimes of passion, such as an unplanned murder due to the extreme anger or jealousy. The frustrations aggressions. So, the frustrations aggressions is when people get frustrated, they may become aggressive. So, the frustrations happens when something blocks them from reaching a goal, and that can lead to angry or even violence. So, the example of this is a person struggling financially and unable to find a job, and they will become frustrated and resort to stealing.
Good day everyone, I am Tersky Villegas and I be reporting the two factors of aggression. So first, instrumental aggression. Aggressive behavior aim at achieving a goal other than causing harm. For example, a person commits a robbery to get money rather than to hurt someone. And number two, angry aggression. Aggression caused by frustration with the goal of harming someone. For example, a person loses their temper and punches someone after being insulted. Migarja's algebra of aggression. Migarja in 1982 proposed a framework explaining factors that influence aggression and criminal behavior. So there are 5 factors. So first, instigation to aggression. Internal motivators that led to aggression such as frustration, jealousy, or personal gain. For example, a person gets angry after being cheated in a game and start a fight. And number 2, habit strength. Learn aggressive behavior that are reinforced by past rewards. Example, a child who gets attention after throwing tantrums continue to do. And number 3, habit against aggression. Internal restraints that discourage aggression, such as fear of punishment, moral values, and empathy. For example, a person avoid violence because they respect laws and fear of consequences. Fourth, stimulus factors or S and S1. Environmental influences that either encourage S or prevent S1 aggression. For example, a person may act aggressively if friends encourage them but may stop if a police officer or a teacher is present. And lastly, response competition, choosing between aggressive and non-aggressive responses based on the best outcome. For example, instead of fighting in a heated argument, a person chooses to walk away to avoid trouble.
People fail to reach their goals for various reasons, including unsatisfied or unmet goals, harmful or antisocial goals, conflicting emotions, environmental difficulties, poor self-concept, and life transition periods. Also, stress is a natural and recurring part of the life that arises due to frustration or unsatisfaction, manifesting as a physical arousal or excitement. Distress, on the other hand, refers to the psychological discomfort caused by external or internal factors. Also, stress can be triggered by different causes such as conflict, fear, maladaptive coping mechanism, fatigue, poor diet, and drug abuse. Drug abuse, illness, and disturbances in circadian rhythm. Physically, stress is characterized by the fight or flight response, where the body instinctively prepares for danger, and the general arousal syndrome, which occurs in 3 stages: alarm reaction, where blood pressure and adrenaline levels rise; stage of resistance, where the body attempts and to defend against stress; and exhaustion, where emotional and physical energy are depleted. Sources of distress include unmet goals, poor self-concept, emotional conflicts, life transitions, and association with distress groups. The effects of distress can be severe, leading to a poor task performance, bad decision making, self-defeating behaviors, dangerous actions, suicidal tendencies, accidents, anxiety, fear, apathy, cynicism, and loss of interest or initiative. To combat stress and distress, individuals can engage in exercise, a proper diet, recreation, and relaxation techniques. Additionally, maintaining a positive self-concept, expressing emotions, forming healthy social attachments, setting realistic goals, and evaluating them properly can help in distress management. Also, crisis is an extreme form of stress that is temporary and arises from sudden or new situations. It often results from major life changes, losses, or deprivations that are perceived as threats to a person's well-being.
Good evening everyone, especially to you ma'am. Our topic, mental disorders. So, mental disorders, this is a behavioral or mental pattern that cause significant distress or impairment of personal functioning. So, mental disorders, this is a difference brain people, hindi tama sa pag-iisip. So, next is a normal persons. Normal person from the view of human adjustment, a normal person is one who behaves according to the norms and standards of society. So, example, ako, like me. So, kabalo ko mo, kontrol sa akong sarili. O kabalo ko, og tama og mali. Kasi, I'm a normal persons. Or, kabalo ko kung unsa akong buhaton. Next is among the characteristics of normal persons are the following. First is a free expression of personality. So, personality. Example, freedom for us all to express ourselves. So, example, mag-apply ako ng work. What was your answer in the interview? So, mag-question siya sa imo kung anong sagutin mo sa interview, diba? So, number 2, adequate security feelings. So, adequate security feelings, this is involves feeling secure at one's physical and emotional well-being, relationships, and environment. So, number 3, efficient contact with reality. So, the state or fact of being in contact or communication or of having awareness. So, number 4, for my opinion about the adaptability to group norms. This is adaptation in environment, culture, and societies. So, example, treat every team member with respect. So, example, meron kayong nahahalo sa group nyo in other countries dapat i-respect nato kung unsa ilahang culture, diba? So, number 5, emotional maturity. This is a familiarized words, diba? So, emotional security, this is a example for me, how to control myself and depende sa situation. So, emotional maturity, this is magdepende ni siya sa emotion to the situations. So, number 6, adequate self-knowledge. So, adequate self-knowledge, right now, for example, now, tapos, with exam tomorrow, and study ka right now, tapos, another ka mag-study for tomorrow. Kung ma-pressure ka or makakalimot ka sa imong gi-studyhan, mag-stack knowledge ka na lang, diba? That is adequate self-knowledge. So, integrated and consistent personality. So, young before, like naughty po ako. Right now, naughty rin ako. Like, naughty, this is kiat pa ko sa una pagkabata pa ko, tapos kiat gapong ko ron. This is integrated and consistent personality. So, next is abnormal persons. An individual can be called abnormal when he fails to meet the characteristics of a normal person. He may try escape from this complex by doing any. So, abnormal persons, this is a familiarized. So, abnormal persons, this is a difference person or face or body nila or shape silang tapos dili sila makadungog or kulang sila sa mga pag-iisip, tapos makatawar sila kalit, tapos ang mga naong nila dili pare sa to nga normal tag naong, tapos ilaham like abnormal, like kulang jud. So, diri ra akong nahuman nga report. This is where my report ends. Thank you for listening.